Hey, what's going on? It's Jordan Edwards, host of the hashtag Clocked In podcast, and I'm excited to be here today because I'm talking about one of my favorite questions, which is how do you build an incredible life? And the way I wanted to start this is because there's been so much excitement about AI, ChatGPT, and all of that. I thought, why not ask ChatGPT 4.0, how do you build an incredible life? And so the overview of this, we're going to discuss the 10 lists that they do, and we'll dive into each of them. So the first one, I'm going to give you the overview, and then I'm going to explain them all out. So the first one is define your vision. Two is to set goals. Three is to invest in personal development. Four is to cultivate healthy habits. Five is to build strong relationships. Six is manage finances wisely. Seven is embrace challenges and learn from failures. Eight is to give back. Nine is to practice gratitude. And 10 is to stay flexible and adapt. So let's hop into the first one, defining your vision. As many of us know that when we view our life, a lot of us, as children, we were told, go to this elementary school, go to this middle school, go to this high school, apply for this college. And then what do? Go find a job. And there's never a point in that where anyone ever said, what do you want your life to look like? What do you want to see for yourself in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years? So when I started Edwards Consulting, this idea came to me that if I could define my life, then I can work backwards from that. So the first thing I did was define a 5 year vision. And I still do this with all my clients today, where we start off with a 5 year vision they might have, and we start describing that life and what that might look like for them. And this is an activity you can do for yourselves, where it's like in 5 years, I want to be working this kind of job or this kind of business. I want to be making this type of money. I want to be living in this location. A dream of mine is to vacation here. I want to be married. I want to have kids. I want to do this. Whatever those are for you, at least you know, so you have intention in which case you're going. Because a lot of the people I speak with, majority of them are always saying, I want to buy a house. I want to get married. I want to have kids. And that is what society has told us. But since I would say the last 70, 80, 90, 100 years, there's been so much flexibility in how people are living. Some people live in an RV and drive around all year. Some people travel from country to country, just posting social media. Some people just stream. Some people just podcast, interviewing different people. Some people uh, built their own farm and they never leave their farm and they live on their farm. Some people live in a friend's house. Some people are homeless. Like some people travel all the time. So there's no right way of living, but it's what's right for you. And that comes with self-exploration. So we have to learn about ourselves by doing different activities, different experiences to learn what we really enjoy. So the first thing I'm going to recommend on when you're building your vision is make sure you're in an optimal state. Also, make sure that you're open to new ideas, trying new things, seeing what is possible. Because the majority of the time, we are confined to the thoughts that we think because we haven't experienced enough. So the more we experience, the more we can think outside the box and think about things a little bit differently. The second one that ChatGPT offered for defining a particular life, first of all, defining your vision, I 10 out of 10 agree. I think you can't move forward without a North Star. I'm also going to rate these and think if I agree or not. Two, set goals. I completely agree with this because the thing is that you might have this big vision of, I want to be traveling here. I want to live here. I want to have a home here. I want to be doing this. But without the actionable steps, we can never get there. So let's say the goal is to save $10,000. You can look at that a million different ways. You can go, $10,000 is a lot of money. I don't know how to do that. Or you pick up a side hustle where you're making $100 a week and you start pushing that away and saving and setting up the routine. Because what they say is it's smart goals. So it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. That's a way to set a goal. And the way I like to think about it is you need accountability. So whenever I go through those meetings with people, we'll set 12-week, 8-week goals for them. And then we do action steps each week to work towards those goals. And then realistically, you only accomplish your goals if you measure and monitor them. So times throughout my life where I measured and monitored and seen incredible results that I think are outsized is one. There's an Amazon scale, costs like 20 or $30, and it literally connects to this app and it tracks your information. So every time you step on the scale, it's not like, oh, I think I'm this weight. No, this is exactly, and it charts it all for you and tells you if you're healthy or unhealthy. Now, I'm not saying the healthy or unhealthy is important, but the tracking and knowing all the data points is super important. So I can put that link in the show notes because that scale literally causes you to measure and monitor your health so you know if you're improving or not. Easy one. Another one with measure and monitoring was when I ran the marathon. I had a goal. I had a vision that I wanted to accomplish a marathon, and then I had to set the goal of the action steps to get there. And I would each week, let's go 8 miles, 10 miles, 12, 15, 9, whatever it is. And you just start working towards that goal and you get closer and closer. Because there's so many times where we think something's unrealistic, but we don't break it down into manageable bite-sized pieces. And that's everything in this world. Like every single thing we do, as long as we keep staying consistent and work towards those goals, we will improve. So just remember that it's the little things that build into the big goals, that build into what your true vision of your life is. I 10 out of 10 agree. Investing in personal development. This is a way to continually improve yourself through learning, whether through books, courses, mentorship, experiences. This could be in areas like leadership skills, emotional intelligence, or technical expertise. For me, this is what I do. I love personal development because I think we are growing or dying. And I heard that from Tony Robbins. And it's that every single day we're getting better or we're getting worse. And so, what are the things we can do each day to better ourselves? And for me, the way I found this framework of constantly being in that personal development is, of course, joining groups. There's different ways of doing that. It's been building this podcast. It's interviewing incredible people like the founder of Reebok or Jeff Hoffman, co-founder of Priceline, or any of the other 170 plus people I've interviewed across every single industry. That's a learning mechanism for me. And then what I do is I have one-on-one coaching, and then I do group coaching as well. So that causes me to be able to teach the information that I've now learned from others. So that's where what really what really solidifies the learning is when you're able to teach it. So I always advocate to, if you learn something new, like if you read a book and learn something in the 10 pages, go share that with someone, the new thing you learned, because then it solidifies deeper in your brain and allows you to retain that information much better. So I think personal development is the best. And the other big thing I want to bring up about personal development, building an incredible life, is that one of the things it's basically saying is our environment affects us. So we have to be very careful about where we spend time, what we're doing, and who it's with, because our environment is basically dictated by the people we speak with, the books we read, the podcasts we listen to, and the TV shows we watch or the YouTube we watch. There's no other way to get other information. So when you start realizing that environment, the things you watch that might be funny, or the things you might watch that might be political, or the things you might watch that might be for financial literacy or anything, you have to realize that that affects you. And that becomes your environment because right nowadays we're so deeply ingrained in our phones that you have to be affected by that. So it's either you're producing or you're consuming. So just be very careful of that. It's important to realize the environment we're in and who is around us and who's allowing that to happen. Number four is cultivating healthy habits. So it's taking care of your physical and mental health. This includes regular exercise, proper nutrition, adequate sleep, and managing stress effectively. So the big points I want to bring up here is when I really started taking this seriously. So in high school, I played lacrosse and football. So it was always like I was being athletic and I was doing sports and I was doing these different things. So that was keeping me in the regiment. Freshman year of college, I did lacrosse as well. So that was still a good regiment. Sophomore year, I did not. So now this is the first time that you're not forced to do sporting activity. So it's how do you redefine yourself? How do you recreate yourself? And for those years, I would just lift weights and I would go on runs and I would kind of get accustomed to that. And then you're kind of finding your structure. You're finding your what works with you and what's best for you. And the best times I've ever had, mental and physical experiences, are when I focused on a goal. So that was from doing 75 hard. What that was probably the best time where it was two workouts a day. It was drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages of personal development book, take a picture, eat clean, no alcohol, no chocolates. And that was Andy Frisella's challenge, which most people I think I've heard of. But it's very, very relevant. It's called 75 Hard, and you can look it up. It's all online. There's books, all these different things about it. But it was such a good mental and physical mindset that I had because I was able to do these things. And it's also, what are healthy habits? So when I like to think about this, I sit there and ask myself, is what I'm doing better for me or worse for me? And that is an easy way to tell if it's a healthy habit. Because in reality, what we're doing is we're constantly chasing feelings. We want ourselves to feel a certain way, feel good about what we're doing. And the best way to do that is through doing things that challenge us or doing things that are good for us. So, like, for example, like this morning, I went to a workout class. It was a spin class. And the instructor was talking about that concept of how do you want to feel? Like, what do you want to do? Like, you woke up early, you came to this class, like, what do you want to accomplish? And it was always about you want to feel incredible. You want to be proud of the work you've done. You want to be proud of what you're doing and excited about the day. So these are little habits that kind of help me along the way. And the way I do that is when you're building healthy habits, you want to get the good out of them. Meaning, if the habit is like, it can be anything, like running. Most people are like, I hate running, or I hate cold calls, or I hate reading. And it's because they don't see the positives in it. And whenever you start a new habit, there's always going to be so much negative and so much pain because it is hard. It's hard to do something until you get good at it, meaning that you have to constantly keep working on something incrementally each day until you're finally good at it. And then you go, I like this. Know that with everything we do, every single skill set, it's always hard at first, and then we like it, and then we get good at it. So it's how do you trick yourself to get good at something earlier or earlier on? So creating healthy habits been a game changer. And one of the biggest things for me is I use the Fitbit. So that's the way I track my sleep and track my score to see if I'm going in the proper direction. So I'd highly recommend getting a fitness tracker. Obviously, don't take it. It's not the best thing for you, and it's not you have to listen to this, but it's very important to just know your numbers, know where you can improve, know where you can know where you're doing well at. So number five, building strong relationships. Surround yourself with supportive and positive people who encourage your growth. Invest time in nurturing relationships with family, friends, mentors, and colleagues. As I've seen people go through life, they get smaller and smaller circles, which is a good thing. There's goodness in having a very tight knit circle. The thing is, though, you have to be open to meeting new people because you never know where that relationship is going to lead to you. So, for me, the way I build strong relationships is at the very end of the year, I go through my contacts and I send them all voice memos. The voice memos can take 20 to 40 seconds. And I'll usually do this a little bit before December. Not before December, but before like the Christmas, New Year's rush. So maybe like December 22nd, 23rd, 24th. And I would send everyone voice memos. The reason I do that is to maintain a relationship with them. Because when we think about relationships, sometimes they're give relationships, but a lot of the time they can be viewed as take relationships. So you don't want to be taking. You want to provide people value. So, like I said, I'll go through the contacts I have, and I have like 500 to 1,000 to 2,000 different contacts, and I'll just pick the people who I might be like, oh, we should definitely connect with them. And I send them voice memos just to let them know I'm thinking about them, and I wish them a happy new year, and I can't believe how successful they are, and I'm so proud of them. And if you personalize it, even better. But it's literally 20 seconds. Is the relationship worth 20 seconds of your time? Yes. So that is a great way I build relationships. Another one is by asking people questions. If someone's doing something really well, I will ask them, hey man, can you explain that to me? Or how maybe can I implement that in mine? How can I continue to learn that? Because we're not all going to do it ourselves. We're all products of people that we met and asked for. So to be vulnerable and be able to learn is super, super important. So I'd highly recommend looking to build deep relationships is it's a give relationship. So you want to keep giving to people and you want to have no expectations in return. And if someone does something well, fantastic. But it doesn't have to be, it's not, I'm giving you this, so you do this for me. Because otherwise you're just going to be having a lot of issues. 6 is manage finances wisely. Financial stability is often a cornerstone of a fulfilling life. Develop a budget, save and invest prudently, and plan for the future. I 100% agree with this. I learned from one of my mentors. He's 79 years old, serial entrepreneur, Howard Gordon. And what ended up happening with him is he always expressed the value of if you have steady income or if you have money put away for you where you can manage the situation, you don't get into that desperate thought process. Because when we're desperate, we show up the worst. We do poor deals, we do poor decision making, we're frantic, we're rushing through things, we're not showing up our best. So to get the best clear-mindedness, you want to have great financials for yourself personally and for your businesses and for your life. So it's super important that we take the time to prioritize, that we take the time to prioritize what we're looking to do, right? So we talked about that vision and the goals. With finances, you want to make sure that you're heading in the correct direction. And like Dave Ramsey, he's got a very simple baby steps. It's save $1,000, pay off your debts, save 6 months, 3 to 6 months, start investing in retirement. All whatever strategy you want to do. Some people are like, just invest it all. Some people are save it all. Doesn't matter the strategy. Whatever gives you the ability to sleep well at night is what you have to do. Because when you're in that desperate mode, you are not showing up well. You're not open to the opportunities. You're not in a receiving place. And it usually comes from a scarcity mindset. But when you're in a good place financially, you have that abundance where you might run into people, learn new things, get open to new ideas. So I highly, highly recommend that if you're not at this place where you're in a good place, where you feel secure, priority number one is doing that. And I want to let you know, majority of Americans and people in the world are living on credit. So you cannot be comparing yourselves in this because to make this happen, you might have to stop going out to dinners. You might have to stop going on vacations. You might have to stop with the golf habit. You might have to do all these things, but it's only for a period of time until you get that secure amount set up for you. It might require you to get a new job, make more money, do something different, start a side hustle. Because the thing is, if you're not secure, then you can't be confident in who you are. You can't show up the best. And you're constantly in this desperate run. And when we're desperate, we show up the worst and we can always, it's never a good situation. So you never want to be in that place. So I highly recommend people to get that figured out as quickly as possible. Number seven, embrace challenges and learn from failure. View challenges as opportunities for growth rather than setbacks, and learn from failures and setbacks and use them to refine your approach. So, one of the things I do is I run Facebook ads. And when I run Facebook ads, it can be very challenging because what you end up doing is you're paying for paid ad space. So, basically, you make an ad that you think people are going to be interested in. Then you put money behind it, and Facebook algorithm will send it, and the AI will send it to all these different people, showing them, and they might be interested or they might not be interested. Either way, it's okay. The better you get at that skill, like for myself, that means that I'll get more people responding. So it's super important that whenever we have a challenge, one of the things I do is find someone who's done it before. Find an expert. Find someone who's a 20-year guy. Find someone who's been doing it before and see what you can learn from them, because that will expedite a lot of the time. The second thing is when you have a failure, it's never a failure. It's just a way to enhance the situation to make it so that you don't have that negative outcome again. So you sit there and you go, okay, I learned that. And that's why I always have the question of what did I learn from that? Like if a deal doesn't go through or something happens or you lose a friendship or a business thing doesn't happen or your fitness goals aren't being reached, like what can I learn from this? And it might be maybe I'm not prioritizing. Maybe I'm not giving myself enough thinking time. Maybe I'm too desperate. It can be all of these things, but you have to sit there and realize what it is for you and how to learn from that. So I 100% agree that, and the other big thing about challenges is, and learning from failure is that it allows us to expand what we believe to be possible. So a lot of us constrain ourselves and think, I can only do this job, or I can only live in this location, or I can only do this. And when we embrace challenges, it goes, how do we break the frame? How do I break what I believe to be possible and let me go to a new level? Like for me, one of the biggest frame breaks was traveling to Europe for 7 weeks this year. It was incredible. But I had to break the frame of I can only go there for a week or I can only go there for 2 weeks. How do I do this? So I literally had to break my frame and think about what is possible and what have I set up my life to do so that I can optimize this experience. It's so important for us to realize that everything we're going to do that's big is going to be challenging. And everything we do that's big is probably going to fail at some point if we stop. But if we continue to learn, then we can grow and get better and better and better. A funny story about that, actually. So when we were doing the travels, we went to Rome first, right? We ended up getting a one, I think it was like maybe a 400 or 500 square foot place for like 2 weeks. So it was a little tight. Then the next place we went, we made the decision that we are only staying at 600 to 700, 600 or 700 square feet above apartments. Because what I realized was that the constrained life was not something I enjoyed. So I learned from that. I'm going to just made the same decision over and over again. But we're like, no, let's call an audible on this because we were actually flying to, we were doing a couple trips in Italy and then we went to Porto, Portugal. And originally we had this hotel room, and I was like, whoa, for a week, like where we were going to work there and do all these things. And I'm like, that's not going to work. So we found an apartment that was it was like a one bedroom, one bathroom, but it was like very sizey. It was probably like 650, 700 square feet. And after that, I was like, oh, I learned that this is a much better experience because we have space. So I learned that throughout my thing, I'm like, we need to prioritize space. So that's what we did because we learned from it. We learned from that trip and that experience, but you can learn from everything you do. Number eight, give back. Contributing to causes larger than yourself can provide a sense of purpose and fulfillment. This could involve volunteering, mentoring others, and supporting charitable organizations. I think giving back is one of the biggest things. That is why it's one of the five pillars of Edwards Consulting. It's community service and philanthropy. The reason I think this is because as as a society, we can be very selfish. We can always be, what's in it for me? How can I do this? And we don't think that much about others. So I think it's very important to figure out what you care about and how you can contribute, whatever that may be, whether that's giving your time and mentoring someone who's younger than you. And I get mentored all the time, and I do mentoring all the time. Or is it that you want to go volunteer at the food bank? Is it whatever it is? And a really good tip, when you volunteer with a significant other, it really closens your relationship. It's one of the best ways to build a relationship with somebody else. And when you have a cause that you're really passionate about, and you're able to donate and see the fruits of what you donated, whether it's money or time. Like some of it's Habitat for Humanity, and it's like building houses. Some of it's a food drive where you're organizing the food and then people get to take the food. These are all beneficial things. And these make you realize that you don't have to be in that scarcity mindset, because the goal here is to live an incredible life. And an incredible life involves having an abundance mindset. Absolutely. So I think I 100% about giving back. Nine, gratitude. Practice gratitude. Cultivate a mindset of gratitude for what you've achieved and experienced, and this can enhance overall happiness and satisfaction with life. Whenever I have a group meeting, we conclude with the last question I ask the group is, what are you grateful for? And everyone on the call says, I'm grateful for whatever it is. It might be family, it might be friends, it might be opportunity, it might be being alive, it might be in America, it might be having your hands and feet and your body, it might be the ability to speak, it might be the ability to think. We have to realize that gratitude and thankfulness is not only for Thanksgiving, it is for every single day. The more grateful we are, the less angry we are. And I learned that at a Tony Robbins event, Unleash the Power Within. I remember he said it, and it was, you can't be angry and grateful at the same time. And I thought to myself, because in college I would get so frustrated because I didn't want control situations. And now I catch myself doing that, and I just get in gratitude. Because here's the thing, I can't control others. Control other people can't control me. And what's the point of getting upset at something that's already happened? So I sit there with the gratitude and the gratefulness that I'm able to be here, and I'm able to help, and I'm able to make the place a little bit better than I believed it to be when I got here. So when you think about gratitude, think about who are you trying to help? And in reality, most of the time most of the time we help ourselves. And gratitude is the biggest grace that we can give ourselves. So I ask you, what are you grateful for? And when you go to the dining room table, I remember having Peter Swain on the podcast. He's doing incredible things with AI right now. And he came on and he told me one of the biggest tips for his family and having deep conversations was every single night they would ask, what are three things you're grateful for? And every single child would say something. His wife would say something. He would say something. And it would get them all thinking a little bit differently in that positive mindset. So I highly recommend that. Number 10, stay flexible and adapt. Life is unpredictable, so remain adaptable and open to new opportunities and experiences. I love this. And a majority of the time, what we don't realize is new experiences is one of them is we have to create them. You might see them, you might not see them. I remember the New York City Marathon. It was this kid, Jack Keese. I think he's out in Utah right now, but originally Glen Rock guy. And we would talk every so often. He had spots on the team available for his organization, Colorectal Cancer Alliance. I saw him post, and I thought to myself, wow, that would be incredible. And then I thought, what if me and my brother could do that? So then I asked for two spots. We ended up getting in the New York City Marathon because you have to do it through qualifying, or you have to do it through raising money for a fundraiser. And I was able to do it with my brother, and we raised $8,000. It was an incredible experience. But if I wasn't open to that zone, if I wasn't open to that idea, then I never would have seen that post. I never would have been receptive to that. So the point here being is you have to be open to opportunities. You have to have your antennas up. As I've had other guests on, and they say that people are active. You're thinking about it. You're seeing where the opportunities lie. You're seeing where stuff can work. And for me, it's always been a big thing is you have to be open that your life might change. You might do something completely different. You might change everything, and that's okay because we only have one life. So how do we make the most of it? So I honestly agree with ChatGPT. I think this is an incredible answer of how to build an incredible life. And what we've talked about, we've discussed defining your vision, setting goals, investing in personal development, cultivating healthy habits, build strong relationships, manage finances wisely, embrace challenges and learn from failures, giving back, practicing gratitude, and staying flexible and adapting. And the truth is that this is all going to be positive, but it only really works if you work it. So you got to take action on this. And if you need help with any of this, I would love to offer a complimentary coaching call. You can email me at jordan@edwards.consulting and we could set up a time, 30 minutes where we'll focus on you. I'll provide you value and then I'll share what I'm doing and I see if we can collaborate. And I just think it's so important for us to be open to these different resources and be accepting of what might be coming your way. So I hope this podcast found you as an opportunity. I hope this was enlightening to you on building your incredible life. And I can't wait to do so many more of these. So I'm so grateful for this. And I can't wait. And I hope you keep clocking in. And I hope you have an amazing day. Thank you.